Howdy, old chummers. Welcome to the old fishing shack. How you guys doing? Well, we're taping this show on Thursday, Wednesday and Thursday. All week it's been raining here in the Branson area. It's just been cold, windy, rainy, and so it's been a little bit tough. But I do know that this upcoming weekend, Friday, Saturday it's going to be beautiful. Sunday it's going to cool off a little bit. It's going to be decent. And we have a lot of news to pass on to you here on Fishin' Chum. One is that there's a couple of big tournaments happening out at Table Rock Lake this weekend. If you like bass fishing, the KVD, Kevin Van Dam Big Bass Tournament's going to be out at Long Creek at Bass Pro Marina. And whoever wins the biggest fish, you can fish 1 day, 2 days, or 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Whoever catches the single biggest fish gets a brand new Nitro, completely rigged bass boat. My golly. $40,000, $50,000. Then every hour they're paying hourly prices, $1,000 for the biggest bass that hour, and this kind of works down to 10 places. Oh, I fished this tournament. It's a lot of fun. And there's a big crappie tournament. The Crappie Expo here in Branson. It's going to be down at the Expo Center, but it's the Crappie Expo. And I tell you what, it's going to be a big event. There's going to be 100 booths on display, from marines to all kinds of fishing lure booths on display. And Saturday, there's a free crappie feed. That's right. It's only $10 a day to get into this expo, but Saturday go, because starting at 11 o'clock till they run out of crappie, there's going to be a free feed of big old crappie fillets. Boy, that sounds fun. And what's happening is that, Table Rock's not noted for a big crappie lake, good crappie lake. Some of us guys know better than that. There's some pretty doggone good crappie fishing here, but it's not noted for that. But they brought this Crappie Expo in here, and the top crappie fishermen in the world, the United States, are going to be here. The top 100 teams, they qualify for this tournament. And so I guarantee you, these guys are going to find some big crappie without a doubt. It should be some fun weigh-ins. And that's the Crappie Expo and the Kevin Van Dam Big Bass Tournament. Wow. That bass tournament was supposed to be scheduled in the spring because of the fires. They booted it back down to this weekend. And happy Halloween, everyone. Let's go here. Had some pretty good reports for you. Don't go anywhere, because we have a good report of some nice crappie being caught at Truman. They're still a little slowed down with this weather. There's no doubt about that. And we've had some pretty fair bass fishing reports for the people braving it. And I know those people out there crappie fishing at Table Rock, pre-fishing, they've got some dandy fish as well. A little bit of business before we go into the report. This is the time of the year, November. Hey, I tell you what, a lot of people quit fishing, but the diehards. I'm going to take a little bit of time off from here at Fishin' Chums, the show and report. But this is what I want you to do, because it's only 2 or 3 weeks. This is what I want you to do. I want you to join our group page on Facebook. Fishin' Chums group page. Do that for me, because we're going to give you updates on, and we'll be giving you some reports on the group page for the days that I'm not going to be here, and keep you updated. And we have a lot of fun. There's no charge, and what we do is share photos, we share fishing information, share all kinds of fishing stuff, but I will be giving you some reports on our Facebook fishing page. Join us. Boy, we've got well over 3,000 people that's already joined us here recently. So join us up, okay? All right. Okay, let's go out to Beaver Lake. Well, the boys have been out. They've had some rain there, and the weather's been tough. But the boys have been going out and scratching up a few nice stripers. And in fact, look at Juan from Hooked On Fishing Guide Service. Look at this dandy striper. You bet. He said, hey, it's been tough out here, but they've been looking for some feeding fish. And when they do find them, they can hook a few at a time. So good going, Juan. Nice striper. Boy, I love that fishing. And then striper fishing's fixing to get real good over at Beaver Lake. And they've been picking up a few crappie out at Beaver for the few people crappie fishing. I understand around 15, 25 feet of water, jigging minnows. Getting back to the stripers, they're catching some stripers and hybrids, but they're kind of scattered, and you just got to look. Down below the dam, all that cold water coming out of Beaver, the fishing hasn't been too bad, but the weather's been bad, kind of keeping people away from there. But what they're doing is drifting and casting. Our good friends, Richard Lee Rusher and Lisa from the Crappie Adventures Guide Service, get a hold of them. It's going to be a good weekend. It will be a good weekend to be out there fishing with these people. So you might want to get a hold of them because they have been catching a lot of nice trout. In fact, Richard Lee sent us some photos here the last couple of days of fish they've been catching. Go to our group page and we'll show you this. Okay, let's go out to Table Rock. My golly molly, it's been raining out here. It's been cool. Some days it's been windy, keeping the people off the lake. But I want to tell you, it's not that bad fishing. You know, you got to work for them. But they're catching some nice bass at Table Rock. Now they have that Kevin Van Dam big tournament. I had somebody text me the other day, Richard from over in Kansas City's coming down to that KVD tournament. So Gary, what should I use for a bait? Well, if I was fishing this tournament, I'm not able to this year, I would go back mid-creek to the back end of the creeks, and I would slow roll a spinnerbait. Oh, that's what I would do for sure. And a big blade, you know, that old Scorpion that Virgil Ward used to have. I still have some of those. Big bladed spinnerbait. I love to get out there, that's out there this time of the year. Cast it out and just slow roll it with that big blade. You can catch some big bass doing this. And another thing, Richard, I would throw is some swim baits, and they have been picking up some fish on square-billed crankbaits and some deeper diver crankbaits as well. But I think I'd go with that spinnerbait. Now they have been picking up some good fish back into the creek arms of people fishing back there because a lot of the shad have moved back there. And boy, if you do work at it, I think you can catch some good fish this weekend. Out on the main lake, they're catching some smallmouth off the points and secondary points going back into these creek and river areas. And square-billed crankbaits have been working. Also, they've been doing some Ned rigging and a little bit of a drop shot out there, shaky heads too. And don't be afraid getting out in those creek areas and around some brush. Don't be afraid to throw some jigs out there as well. Okay, I tell you, Robert Robertson, he's with this big crappie tournament, this Crappie Expo. And he's been pre-fishing this week, and look at some of the fish that he's been catching. Look at this beautiful crappie. Robert, I'm going to be looking for your name up there towards the high upper end of that leaderboard because you are on some nice crappie out at Table Rock. Good luck at that big Crappie Expo. Boy, that sounds like a lot of fun. And hey, get out there, guys. Go to this big expo downtown Branson at the Expo Center. Just all kinds of fishing stuff on display there. Okay, hey, how about our old buddy, Fishing Chums Catfish Rick Ellis? He was out a couple days ago using live perch. He loves those perch. Look at this big old nice cat he caught on rod and reel. Man, he had a tussle there. Good going, Catfish. Good going, my friend. Nice fish, that's for sure. Okay, wrapping this thing up. They've been catching some crappie at Table Rock. A lot of them are in the river areas right now and standing timber or brush piles, I'd say 15 to 25 feet of water. But these crappie guys, they'll tell us where they're at. And by the way, on our Fishing Chums page, hey, be sure to subscribe because I'm going to have some of the reports on my page from the Kevin Van Dam Big Bass Tournament. Who's going to win that $50,000 bass boat? And also this crappie tournament. 100 of the top teams in the United States going to be there fishing. All right, let's go out to Lake Taneycomo. It's been raining, cold weather. The fishing's been pretty tough out there. If I was going this weekend, it's going to be nice once again on Friday and Saturday, cooler on Sunday. Just dragging a night crawler or a half a night crawler is about as good as anything you can do right now. And then also I'd use those small jigs I like to talk about here. Just slow rolling, tiny 64, 32nd ounce jigs. Okay, let's go out to Bull Shoals. You know, they've been having some bass tournaments out at Bull Shoals over the past weekend. A lot of fish caught, but a lot of short fish. A lot of short bass being caught. And they're catching some nice fish as well. And the creek areas, halfway back, halfway creek, all the way to the back. And they've been going, slow rolling spinner baits. They've been using some swim baits and also some square-billed crankbaits and pitching some jigs in some of these brush piles. So if you're going to Bull Shoals, there's a good bass bite. You have to wade through the small ones, but you can catch some nice bass out there. Slow roll that spinnerbait. out. There's a lot of shad back in the creek arms at Bull Shoals. Now on the main lake points, secondary points, get right out there on those gravel points. There's a lot of shad balling up, and you might be able to get out there and do some spooning, grub fishing, maybe some drop shot fishing. Up shallower, if it's cloudy, a little rainy, I don't think it's going to be that way this weekend. Square-billed crankbaits, and also don't be afraid of swim baits out there as well. By the way, all the lakes, for the most part, the water temperatures are in the low 60s to the mid 60s. I think Bull Shoals was around 66 or so degrees. But most of the water temperatures, like anywhere from 62 to 65 degrees, right in that range. Some even quite a bit smaller than that, or not quite. Like, I had one report, I think it was Truman, it was like 57 degrees. I don't know if that's quite right. Okay, that's Bull Shoals. Let's go out to Stockton. My golly, Stockton has been tough, guys. You know, Stockton's been good pretty well all year. But this weather's kept a lot of people off the water. And Stockton, I think, was 62 degrees on the temperature out there this morning. Now, they've been catching a few fish, but it's tough. The crappie fishing's really tough. You have to wade through a lot of small crappie to catch a keeper or two or three or four. And they're still suspended 15 to 25 feet of water. Some people have been kind of using those crankbaits like a bandit, or also a flicker minnow, flicker shad, catching a few. But overall, it's tough. Few walleye have been caught, but not many this weekend because of the weather. They're still kind of moving towards the mouth of the creeks and also on the points on the main lake, jigging nightcrawler, but it has been tough. Small fish as well. Once in a while, they will catch a keeper out there. And they've been catching some white bass at times. You might keep your eye out on the topwater. If you're going to Stockton this weekend, those whites can come up and surface at any time. That's a lot of fun. Let's go to Pomme de Terre. Oh, I love Pomme de Terre. You know, it's been tough out there this week because of the weather, but they've been picking up a few crappie. In fact, Brandon Hostin has been out. He was out the other day with his lovely wife. Look at this photo. And Brandon and his wife caught a nice mess of fish out at Pomme de Terre. So you can get into some fish out at Pomme de Terre, a little bit deeper around some of the structures. And some people said, hey, they're catching fish shallow out there. So kind of mix it up with jigs, jigging minnows. You might want to start today fishing shallow and then go down to the deeper water, 15 to 25 feet of water on jigging minnows. A few bass have been caught out there, a little bit of a topwater bite. That has slowed down, and they've been picking up some fish on swim baits and spinner baits and square-billed crankbaits at Pomme de Terre. Let's go out to Truman Lake. That water temperature was like 58, is that right? I don't know if that's right, but wow, that's cool. Travis England was out. He's a chummer, if I can talk right. I'm cold out here. I'm old, you know. Travis England was out the other day, a week ago, with his son, Isaiah. And look at this beautiful fish. The photo of the week. I like this kid. Great smile holding that fish up with the sunset in the background. Hey, that's a great photo. Good going, Travis and Isaiah out at Truman Lake. Crappie fishing has been a little slower this week because of the weather. Been a little bit slower, but they've been picking up some fish. You know, they've had some rain out there, and where the water kind of clears up a little bit, standing timber and brush piles, 15, 20 feet of water, and jigging minnows, and they're catching some down at the lower end of the lake off some of the bluffs and the bluff ends. But a lot of small fish, and you have to wade through them, and it's been a little bit slower out there. But they're still picking up some nice hybrids and nice white bass down by the dam at times. That might be a good place to be this weekend to get your old line stretched, and also the KK Island. I have had a good report for catfishing out there before all this weather come in. So there's been some pretty good cats being caught. They're on the prowl out there on cut shad. And if you ever need a good guide job, get a good guide and want to go catfishing, you don't have to bring nothing. You know, this guy, my good friend Jordan Lear, he has a great guide service. It's Angler's Edge Guide Service. Get him up on the internet. Book a trip with him because he has all the equipment, all the rod and reels, all the bait and everything. You just jump in a boat and go catch catfish. How about that? So a few cats being caught out at Truman. Out in Lake the Ozarks have been a little slower this week because of all the weather, but they've been picking up the bass, trying to find shad at the back end of the creeks, and that can be tough with all this rain and overcast. Slow rolling spinner baits. They've been picking up some fish on square-bill crankbaits, flipping jigs, and out on the main lake, the points and secondary points. Crappie fishing's been a little slower due to the fact of the weather, but fish the docks, that's for sure, skipping jigs or a jigging minnow, letting it flutter down around the docks, and they've been picking up some fish on the brush piles on the main lake, 15 to 25 feet of water. Norfolk, out at Norfolk, that lake just turned over. They're starting to get, the fish are starting to move a little bit better than last week, and they're going shallow with lake turnover. They've been picking up some bass in the morning, spinner baits, and also square-bill crankbaits, and they've been picking up some fish on small swim baits. Not much to report on the stripers, and a few crappie and walleye have been caught down around 25 to 30 feet of water. Well, remember, I'm going to be off a week or two here, but join our Facebook page, Fishing Chums Facebook page on Facebook. Boy, we have a lot of fun, and we'll give you up-to-minute reports while I'm gone here just for a little bit. And be sure, you folks over on YouTube, be sure to like and share. Thank you. God bless you. Be sure to subscribe. Brandon, put that up there. And for all of our thousands of viewers, we had over 12,000 viewers last week on Facebook. God bless you. Thank you guys very much, and gals. And just be sure to go to Facebook and like and share us, and also join our group page, and send your photos in to me on my group page. That's the best way to get the photos to me. And when you do send photos, be sure to tell me where you caught them, what lake, because sometimes people send it in, don't tell me the lake, and so be sure to do that. Hey, voting week coming up the first week. God bless all you folks out there. I know a lot of you voted, but be sure to vote. My gosh, yeah, come on. That's what this country's all about. Well, I'll see you in a couple weeks. God bless y'all. I tell you what, thanks for all those views last week, and what a great season we had. Wrapping this thing up, in the height of our season, we had anywhere from 25 to 28,000 views a week. That was just amazing. This past week, 12,000 views. That's awesome. We're even going to do better next spring. Hey, God bless y'all. Be safe. Be safe. We'll see you soon right here on Fishing Chums.